What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are talking tight ends on the positional preview series. If you guys are enjoying the series so far, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. And if you're like, what is this positional preview series you're talking about? What are we doing here? Well, we are previewing all the positions on the New York Giants, all the players on the New York Giants. We're going by position in each video. I'll put the playlist in the description. Also, I'll put the card up right above me so you guys can check that out as well. So we are talking about tight ends. Now, for years we've been looking for a tight end, right? I guess we found one in Evan Engram. Now, there are some consistency issues from Evan Engram. Sometimes he makes fantastic plays. Sometimes he flat out drops the ball, and he definitely needs to work on not dropping the ball, of course. But we're going to start off with Evan Engram, obviously. And if you look at Evan Engram and you look at his stats, first of all, don't even worry about what you saw from him on the field. If you look at his stats, you're like, well, damn, those are some pretty good stats for a tight end. If you guys didn't know, tight ends don't need to be 1,000-yard receivers. They don't need to be Greg Olsen. They don't need to be Rob Gronkowski or Jimmy Graham. They don't need to be that. Those are the exceptions. Or George Kittle, Travis Kelce. Those are the exceptions. Those are fantastic tight ends. Very hard to find, though. But above average, maybe even great tight ends don't usually get 1,000 yards. They can get somewhere around 700, 800 yards. And that's a pretty good season for a tight end. I'd argue a 500-yard season or a 600-yard season is not bad for a tight end. It's not bad. And I know it doesn't look like a lot because when we think of yards, we're thinking of wide receiver yards. But when you think of a tight end, they really don't get much yards. Look at all around the league. Look at all these tight ends that you think you like. Look at their stats. They're not impressive as a receiver, but they're impressive as a tight end. If you look at, his stats, his rookie year, 722 yards. He led all rookie I believe he led all rookie tight ends in receptions. He was like top five in receiving yards from all receivers, including wide receivers and tight ends, in his rookie draft class. By the way, George Kittle was also in that draft class. George Kittle is better, but still, Evan Engram has not disappointed too much that we can say that we need to move on from Evan Engram. Now, is he trade bait at this point? Yes, he is trade bait. Do we really need Evan Engram? Not really, but I'd like to have him. I'd like to have him around, but if we trade him, I wouldn't be too mad about it. I think we can get a good second-round pick for Evan Engram. But if you look at 2018, the guy had extreme consistency issues. He was barely on the field. He barely caught the ball. He barely got targeted, things like that. This guy still managed to finish the season with just under 600 yards, 577 to be exact, with 3 touchdowns and 45 receptions, an average of 12.8 yards per reception. When I see from receivers, I like to see around that 12 to 14 range. That's what I'm happy with. But as far as the tight end goes, 12.8 yards per reception is good. The fact that he finished with 577 yards and he had an extremely consistent year, very forgettable year, those were the quietest 577 I've ever seen in my life from Evan Engram. Especially with Odell gone, he is going to thrive and flourish. We're already seeing it in OTAs. He's a big part of the offense in the OTAs, so he's going to be a big part of the offense moving forward. I really, really like Evan Engram. I think he can be one of the best tight ends in the league right now. He's already one of the fastest tight ends. He probably, if not, he is the fastest tight end in the league. He's probably the most athletic tight end in the league right now. Now that Jimmy Graham is towards the end of his career, Evan Engram has now taken that spot. I think he can be the next athletic freak we see in the NFL that is just going to be just hell to match up against. Now, we're already seeing Jabril Peppers have trouble against him. They're having a little rivalry to get against each other. But I like what we get from Evan Engram. Everybody that says Evan Engram is trash, it just doesn't watch Evan Engram enough. He has consistency issues, but if he works on that, Evan Engram could be an extreme threat in the NFL, and I'm happy that we have him. Was he my choice, in the 2017 draft? Absolutely not. He's probably not even in my first round choice, not even close to being a first round selection, but I am happy with what we got from Evan Engram. So, that being said, we now move on to Rhett Ellison. Rhett Ellison is that run blocking tight end that every team usually tries to have in in their armory of weapons. Rhett Ellison fits the need as, you know, that run blocking tight end that can sometimes play fullback when needed. And I think Rhett Ellison is crucial to our offense. I really do. He has a very good ability of run blocking. He plays fullback a lot. He played a lot of fullback for us before we got Elijah Penny. And he also does some things in the passing game. He's not trash in the passing game. He's caught a couple touchdowns for the Giants in the past, now coming into his 3rd season with us. And he's actually impressed, both in the run game, passing game, pass blocking, run blocking, everything. All around the board, Rhett Ellison has been consistent for us, and I like him as our number 2 there. But I don't think he's going to be our number 2 for long. I can guarantee you that, and I'll save that person for last because I really, really like that guy. But we then move on to Scott Simonson, and Scott Simonson, okay, he's number 3 tight end. I mean, what the hell? I mean, okay, number 3 tight ends aren't going to be that, you know, flashy anyway, for crying out loud. They're the number 3 tight end. But Scott Simonson does what he needs to do. I'm not really like worried about Scott Simonson, or if he's gonna take somebody's job, or if he loses his job. It doesn't matter to me. He's expendable, yes, but if he makes the team, he makes the team. If not, he didn't. But he has impressed towards the end of the season. We've seen him a lot. Eli Manning targeted this dude way too many times in the red zone towards the end of the season. I was like, you have a bunch of guys open, you decide to throw it to Scott Simonson. So, I don't know. I guess Eli must see something that I don't. But, that being said, we then move on to Garrett Dickerson. Garrett Dickerson spent time with us on the practice squad. He's a bigger tight end, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, he spent time on the practice squad. I don't think the next prospect I'm going to mention is going to spend any time on the practice squad. I think he's going to make this 53-man roster. If any of our undrafted free agents make the roster, if only one makes it, it's going to be CJ Conrad for sure. As we move on to CJ Conrad, the tight end out of Kentucky. I love this dude. Watching this guy on tape, I love him, man. He looks like Rob Gronkowski out there, man. He really does. Especially how Rob Gronkowski is like more of a sloppy, unorthodox tight end. He's kind of just a big body, and that's what we like. Conrad is the same way. Conrad is a little bit more finesse. He has a little bit more hand technique. Rob Gronkowski kind of flail his arms everywhere as he runs his route, and like he has huge legs, so he kind of like, I don't know, stomps around, things like that. Rob Gronkowski is just known for being an animal. But CJ Conrad's a little bit more tactical, a little bit more finesse. I like that from CJ. Has great hands, can run block, can pass block, runs great routes. I mean, this dude is like another, I don't know, I guess you could say like a poor man's TJ Hawkinson. You know, you watch TJ Hawkinson on film, he's a guy that can just do it all and do it at such a high level. CJ Conrad should have been drafted. I want to say I give that dude a fourth to fifth round grade on him. That's a good grade for a tight end, because you see a lot of tight ends really shine in the front that are 5th round picks. I think George Kittle was a 5th round pick. George Kittle was like a 3rd to 5th round pick, something like that. But he was like around there. I think he was a 5th round pick. But you find a lot of good gems in the 5th round when it comes to tight ends. And I honestly think he's one of those guys. I honestly think CJ Conrad can make this roster, and if not, get around like 300, 400 yards on this team with the Giants as a second tight end. I really think he can do that. I think he can get a good amount of touchdowns. I think he can make some good big time plays downfield. You look at a lot of tight ends we've had in the past to make big time plays. You know, a quick 20-yard reception down the middle of the field, a great catch down the field, 20-yard reception over a linebacker. I think CJ Conrad is capable of doing that. You know, down the middle of the end zone, catching the ball over receivers. I think he can catching the ball over defenders. I think he can do that as well. So, as far as CJ Conrad goes, I'm really excited from what we get from him. He is probably my favorite undrafted rookie right now. Really confident in him. And, yeah, I think he can honestly get his way all the way to the number 2 receiver because he can run block, or number 2 tight end, because he can run block as well. So, and then Rhett Ellison could do that as well, but I think CJ Conrad could do it on a better level. If we do keep 4 tight ends, I have the depth chart going. Evan Engram, CJ Conrad, Rhett Ellison, and Scott Simonson. The only odd man out would be Garrett Dickerson. If we keep 4 tight ends, I can imagine us keeping 4 tight ends because we're starting to run a lot more twin tight end sets and stuff like that. So, that is my positional previews for the tight ends. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you guys like this, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. For more Giants news and NFL news alike, I'm Kid Blue, and I will see you guys in the next video.